Hi, my name is Jamie Rue, and a couple weeks ago, I had the pleasure of going to see the Frankenstein exhibit at the Morgan Library and Museum. It's Halloween, so I thought it would be appropriate to talk about it. If you don't know the story of Frankenstein, I don't know what rock you're living under, but it's a story about a scientist named Victor Frankenstein who decided he wanted to create life, and then, shit hits the fan. Anyway, Frankenstein is a story that has long been part of popular lexicon. It has been made into movies and plays and comic books. It is absolutely an essential part of our culture. Now, I consider Frankenstein to be one of my favorite classic novels, but not because of the story necessarily, even though it is really cool to have seen the poster for the movie in person. There are only 4 of these in the world. But the reason I love Frankenstein is not because of the movies or because of the comic books or because of the plays or because of the story itself even. It's because of the story behind the story. Meet Mary Shelley. This is the author of Frankenstein. Now, Mary Shelley didn't have necessarily what I'd call a super easy life. Her mom was a famous feminist and her dad was a philosopher, but her mom died really, really young, and her entire life turned upside down when she met Percy Shelley, who is a famous romantic poet. He was already married. It was a super huge scandal. Her dad wanted nothing to do with her. She got pregnant. They had to run away together, which all sounds great, except that her kids kept dying. And that's a blunt way to put it. She ended up dying around 53 from a presumed brain tumor, but before that, she had lost her husband at sea and a bunch of other stuff. You should look this lady up. She had a fairly fraught life. But what's really interesting about Mary Shelley is when she wrote Frankenstein. It's 1816. It's May. Mary Shelley, Percy Shelley, and her son, who is doomed to an untimely death, go to Geneva, and they spend the summer with Lord Byron, who is another famous romantic poet. They're sitting around a campfire, and Lord Byron goes, "Let's tell each other ghost stories." And Mary Shelley goes, "I don't write, my man. What the F are you talking about?" But then she gets an idea, and then she wrote Frankenstein. After really not having written anything. And at 18 years old. And then it got published. And this lady, she was 20. As in the same age that I'm going to be in a couple months. 20. And she published Frankenstein. That's what I love about the story of Mary Shelley. Not the fact that she wrote Frankenstein, but the fact that she wrote at all. This 20-year-old got the story published, and we still read it today, and it is an absolutely essential part of what we talk about when we talk about Halloween, or if we talk about monsters, or if we talk about mad scientists. She created science fiction in a lot of ways. NaNoWriMo starts in approximately less than 6 hours. No joke. I don't know when you're seeing this, if you're seeing this at all. It might be after November started already. I would say that if you have a story that you have thought of, and you're like, man, I wish I could read that, or someone's gonna tell that story. Well, no one's gonna tell that story but you. This woman, this 20-year-old woman, accomplished what a lot of people think is impossible, but it really isn't. I think Mary Shelley is an extraordinary person. She created a genre, she overcame immense hardships, and she wrote. And that final thing is something that I hope I can continue saying about myself for a long time. Happy writing, guys.